This is the Phoenix Middle School 8th grade curriculum video for the 2021-22 school year.
Hello, my name is Kelly Allen, and I'll teach 8th grade social studies this year to your students. Our year consists of mainly U.S. history, from the founding of Jamestown through the Civil War. We'll also cover U.S. government as well as other topics. I'm not into testing names and dates, but rather concepts surrounding the growth of our nation all the way to today. And I really try to use the class time as much as possible, so there will not be nightly homework, but if a student doesn't use their class time effectively, they may need to finish items at home or in AOR extensions. I'm looking forward to a great year and getting to know our students very well.
Hello, Phoenix families. My name is Jordan Beck, and I will be your 8th grade students language arts teacher this year. The structure of my class revolves around Schoology. I want students to be resourceful and independent thinkers. I post a daily agenda on my Schoology calendar for students who are absent or forget something to refer back to. I have a lot of in-class workshops that focus on the creative and writing process. So a lot of times if students don't get something done in that workshop time, it becomes spillover work beyond class. So maybe in AO, maybe in extensions, and very rarely at home for homework. I use Google Drive a lot as well. So sharing is a submission often in my class. So working with Google Slides or Docs is a huge component. Again, I really focus on the writing structure and that process. I want students to develop that voice, and I help coach them through that. I want them to develop a process that works best for them in high school so that they can swiftly work through the brainstorming process, work through proposing an idea, an outline, maybe getting peer reviews, revision, editing, and getting that final best product within their written work. I integrate into a lot of other classes, a lot of other disciplines, looking at current issues with social studies, becoming a humanities course, working with connections to provide more writing time, or even working with science to look at what's happening in the world with informational text. I drive my class with a lot of essential questions, but the main one is, what is the human condition? What is the human experience? I want students to be self-reflective and introspective to understand, what does it mean to be human? So we understand the characters we read about, we understand what's happening in the world, but also how they understand themselves. I focus on forming arguments a lot. This is very connections related, claims, evidence, reasoning. Sometimes evidence and reasoning is how they think, and sometimes it's research. I focus a lot on a technique called blended learning. Students work through independent learning, resourcefulness, technology. I coach them through that. So we have a lot of creative-based projects revolving around poster creation, slide creation. The creative process is a huge component in my class. Research and credibility judgment, a world of misinformation and a lot of information is a huge component. Narrative studies and literary analysis, The Giver, so looking at sci-fi and dystopian elements. Night, looking at history and Holocaust memoirs. Raised in the Sun, looking at the civil rights, the 1960s, the American dream, and poetry. And of course, short stories, themes of technology, ethics, dystopian elements of government, how all of this plays into human rights. And sometimes we'll look at short stories, short films with adaptation study, how things transfer to other media. So text to visual as well. If you have any questions, my email is at jbeck at WS Cloud. Please reach out, and thanks for watching.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Gafford, and I am the Spanish teacher here at Phoenix. I'm really excited. I just moved from Washington, D.C. to Columbus this summer. So I'm excited to be at Phoenix. I'm new, I'm learning so much, but I'm really excited. And so far it's been a really great start to the school year. So students will be taking Spanish 1 here with me. I have all the students. This is a high school course, and they will receive a high school credit. They can have the option of moving on in Spanish when they get to the next high school by taking Spanish 2 or enriched Spanish next year at their high school. And I will be focusing on Latin American art and music, history, and current events. That is what I know the most about and I'm most interested in. And there's a lot of great content in Latin America to study. So your students will be getting a lot of that from me as well. One thing to note is similar to math your students will receive a grade and a letter grade for each semester. And that letter grade will go on their transcript, their high school transcript. However, it will not be calculated. Worthington does not use that letter grade to calculate into their high school GPA. And you will be receiving more information about that this semester. Otherwise, our classes look like a lot. The hope is that when your student is in my class, they will be receiving a lot of language input, very language rich, immersive experience where we're telling a lot of stories. I'm responding in Spanish, and that, they're hearing a lot of Spanish when they're with me. Soon enough, they're going to begin producing language more and more and speaking and writing and reading in Spanish by the end of the year. So thank you for sharing your student with me. I've really enjoyed the students so far and looking forward to a great year in Spanish.
Hi, 8th grade parents. My name is Kevin Hall. I am the 8th grade math teacher here at Phoenix. And in fact, I have been the 8th grade math teacher here at Phoenix for, I think this is my 14th year. I was the original 8th grade math teacher here. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the two classes that I teach here. They are Math 1 and Math 8, which all of the 8th graders take one or the other outside of 3 students. We do have 3 students that take Math 2 with Mr. Hudson. And just a little bit about those two classes. As you can see on the slide, both of those classes follow the state standards for Ohio for Math 8 and Math 1. If you would like further information about what those standards are, you can email me. You can see my email there at the top of the slide, and I will send you the objectives that we cover in those classes. I will say that Math 1 is a high school class, and so I would point out that students that are taking Math 1 are getting their first high school credit, and because it's a high school credited class, they get a letter grade for the class this year, in addition to the mastery grade they get for Phoenix. So I sent a letter home to each of you already that have a student in Math 1 and laid out how that letter grade is earned. If you have any questions about that, again, feel free to email me and I will give you a call or I'll email you back and we can talk about how that letter grade is arrived at. The only other thing I would say is that in both classes, the key to being successful in math is keeping up with the assignments. I know that typically from a homework standpoint, math has the most homework of any class, and we're probably no different. Probably in a quarter, we will do 25 or so assignments. Maybe it works out to about 3 out of every 5 days. And when students get behind, they can build up quickly. So I would urge you to try to have your students stay on top of the assignments. Those that do are almost always successful in the 2 classes. And again, if you need anything, feel free to email me and I will get back to you. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tony Cabilo, and I am the 8th grade Connections teacher. So Connections class is a critical thinking course that we offer to both 7th and 8th graders. So when they come to me in their 8th grade year, we're going to continue to build on those foundations of critical thinking skills that they were working on as 7th graders. A big thing that we're going to continue to focus on this year is the development of their argumentative skills and their discussion skills overall. The idea here is that students are continuing to foster critical thinking for problem solving and for making their decisions. During the discussion portion of the Connections course, it'll look a lot like a Socratic seminar. So students will come in and I'll either have a pre-selected topic for discussion or the students will come in with a topic of choice that we will discuss as a class. The goal throughout this whole time is to teach students how to think and not to teach students what to think. So we're going to really employ the development of their skills of, kind of taking apart an argument and looking at what is the claim that's being made, what are the premises of the argument, and what evidence do they have to support those claims. And then finally, what's the quality of the evidence that the argumenter is using during their argument. So we'll work on that a lot, and hopefully by second semester, the goal is that the students will be the facilitators of the discussion, and I'll just be a moderator of the discussion. So we will practice that quite a bit. An example of a homework assignment that you might see will just be a discussion topic. So I'm hoping not to send students home with a lot of homework, but instead send them home with a topic or a continuation of a discussion from class, and ask you guys to kind of talk it through with the students so that you guys have the opportunity to interject your voice into our discussions as well, and hopefully come back to class and debrief a lot of those discussions. I will tell them, and we tell them this in 7th grade as well, that even though that they are becoming very persuasive arguers, that the parents hold the ultimate authority with the atomic bomb of "because I said so." So don't be afraid to use that, but also try to allow for an environment of discussion, just dialogue and feedback with the students, maybe around a dinner table or something like that. A big change that the students will experience in the 8th grade Connections is that they get their health credit through this class. So there will be more information about that as we get closer to second semester. But the idea here is that we are going to be equipping students with tools for their tool belt to use as they encounter a variety of different situations, so that they can make healthy and informed decisions. The idea is that since this is still a critical thinking class, that we will employ our critical thinking skills to the health curriculum as well. A big example of a topic that we might cover would be a big question like, can the healthy and wealthy afford to ignore the poor and the sick? Obviously, that's a really complicated issue, and the idea is that we're going to kind of peel back the layers of the onion on big questions like that, and allow students to kind of think about, what is my role in society, and how can I employ what I know as an informed citizen to help make good choices. So yeah, the full course syllabus will be on the website, as well as my contact information. You can kind of see there's several other bullet points from the syllabus on this slide as well that you can look at. If you have any additional questions, or you would like further information about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I would be happy to connect with you. Thanks so much.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Lemire, and I am your student's 8th grade science teacher. This year, there will be a large focus on curiosity and developing understanding of the world around them. And that is really what science is all about, understanding the world around them. So we develop that through different inquiry activities in class, but also I have something called Question of the Day. In that, students are able to then explore questions that they have of the surrounding world around them. And we do that every day. Overall topics in my class, we start out with species and reproduction. We look at genes of organisms, how organisms change over time. We look at natural selection and the evolution of organisms. We also look at how organisms reproduce. So we look at the cell-based reproduction of asexual or sexual reproduction. We also then move on to the second unit of the physical Earth. So we start by looking at the different layers of the internal Earth and essentially how that impacts the plate tectonics, and therefore how the plate tectonics impact the outside of the Earth or the surface of the Earth in the formation of the land features. And then our last unit is on force and motion, and we look mainly at the laws of motions, but we also do explore some energy concepts as well. For homework in my class, we don't have a ton of homework. Typically, if there's homework, it's 2, maybe 3 times a week, and it's at maximum 20 minutes. The homework that I give always is started in class. And so they really shouldn't have lots to do outside unless they have not been using their time wisely in class. I also did want to make a note that I do not have, we don't do science fair officially in my class where everyone has to do it, but I do provide the opportunity for students to participate in science fair, and I help develop their project and all the different steps of that project. And typically I do that through extension. So if your student is interested when we get closer to it, usually in November, we start that. I'll make sure that I reach out to any of those people. So please reach out if you have any questions or concerns. As you can see, my email is on the screen. It's slemire@wscloud.org. And I look forward to a great year. Have a great rest of your evening.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Martin. I'm the intervention specialist for the 7th and 8th grade at Phoenix. This year, I'll be working with each individual student and making sure that all of their needs are met throughout the year. I will be working with students, parents, and teachers to collaborate on each student's individual needs and how we can best achieve those throughout the year. And this looks different for each student, so collaboration is really big and really important so that we can all come together and figure out how to best serve the student and help them to achieve their goals throughout the year. And this is achieved by everyone collaborating together with the use of accommodations and modifications as needed. And the different goals that students have throughout the year just really depends on their IEP, but it can be broken down into executive functioning, math and language arts goals, social emotional behavior, and reading and writing, just to name a few. I am also involved for extra support in the classroom for individual students in inclusion, math, and ELA. And that's based off of each student's needs, whether I'm in the classroom with them during these times or not. And I work closely with Mr. Hall and Mr. Beck to make sure that each student is on track and provide them with the proper accommodations that they may need during the class. Throughout the year, we also focus on advocating and independence, and this is a really important skill that students will learn really pretty quick here at Phoenix. Students need to be able to advocate for themselves and ask teachers questions, and this is pretty evident during our AO time and our extensions times, where students have the opportunity to go from teacher to teacher to get extra help with an assignment or to ask questions if they're unclear on any directions or what to do with the specific assignment that they are given. And so this is important that students learn how to ask for help and to get clarification. And so we will work on that throughout the year. We'll also work on life skills throughout the year, future goals and transition goals. And this is super important for when students turn 14, they start kind of looking into like their future and what does that look like? Like, what do you want to do when you get older? How do we achieve that? What types of schools are out there? Do you want to do a trade? What type of trade schools are out there? So things like that. And they're very broad for students because they are still in middle school. So their interests and ideas may change when they get older. And lastly, we have organization. And that is also a really important aspect of Phoenix, just being able to be organized. In the 7th grade and 8th grade do a really good job of this. Specifically, we start out a good foundation of this in 7th grade, where they have their own individual Google Drive, and they have folders for each subject so students can stay organized with their online work. And also we have planners for students so they can use the planners to be able to organize what assignment they have due. And teachers do a really good job of reminding students as well to look at their planner, get their planner out at the beginning of class, write down their homework. So this is a really important skill that students will also learn and be taught how to effectively organize as well. And thank you so much.
Colin Smith is our 8th and 7th grade wellness teacher. Wellness is a huge component at Phoenix, so he often incorporates wellness into the active engagement of teamwork, sportsmanship, leadership, and really has students combine that to have a healthy lifestyle with fitness. Please feel free to pause and look a little bit closer at the bullet points as well. Kevi Boverd is our 8th grade band teacher. Please feel free to pause the video and take a closer look at the components of Kevi's class. Abigail or Abby McGreen is our 8th grade orchestra teacher. Feel free to pause and look a little bit closer at the details of orchestra. Sue Swihart is our new 8th grade visual art teacher. Feel free to pause at this point and look a little bit closer at visual arts components. Jessica Evans is our 8th grade choir teacher. Feel free to pause and take a closer look at choir's ears focus as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. And thank you for your ongoing support.